Gurmila Mágad, Lascan Corlia, and I want to thank everybody who's made a contribution to this really important debate here today. Some very interesting contributions and fairly philosophical understanding of what's involved here. I believe that this is one of the most important electoral reform motions that has come before this chamber in a long period of time. I want to address a couple of speakers. I was disappointed by Johnny Girk spending his time attacking, for petty reasons, his constituency competitor. This issue is bigger than Peadar Tóibín, it's bigger than Johnny Girk. And the idea that we'd actually, not spend our time trying to fight for this rather than actually instead fight with each other is just absolutely silly. Deputy Aidan Farley attacked Aontú in relation to diversity. And, I think that attack shows a lack of self-awareness. The political establishment in this country dresses up in the colours of diversity, welcomes everybody's opinion as long as it agrees with theirs. Deputy Farley and Deputy Gannon probably don't recognise this, but their politics is actually in the ascendancy in the country. Their politics is actually in the establishment in this country at the moment. And for at least the last decade, this House and this country has become a cold house for the diversity of thought. There has been an oppressive uniformity in the political system that has shut down voices. And if you don't recognise it, it's because your voice wasn't shut down. Other people's voices have been shut down and they've been pushed out of the political debate. I believe that actually there's a growing section of Irish society who no longer believe in their types of politics. There's a growing section of young people especially who believe in science, who believe in facts and want a common sense future. And I believe that Aontú is wholeheartedly at the cutting edge of that particular movement at the moment. I was disappointed with Deputy Paul Murphy bringing up people's faith in this debate. We live in a country where there's freedom of religion. Discrimination on the basis of faith is wrong. If Deputy Murphy used any other religion other than Catholic in those sentences, people in this chamber would have been absolutely disgusted at it. If Paul Murphy can be inspired by Marx, as he's entitled to be, surely other politicians and other individuals can be informed by their faith as well. Now, People for Profit says that Aontú's motion is too restrictive. Labour says it wasn't restrictive enough. I have no problem with Deputy Murphy's motion in reality, his amendment, and we're happy to support it. My frustration and just my worry was just to make sure that it could be verified, those signatures. Rory Ahern said people died for the right to vote. They didn't die for the right to vote. They died for the right to vote in a representative democracy. People in China have the right to vote. A democracy without half the people is no democracy at all. And that's what we're looking at here. And the fact that so many political parties have their heads down in their own political campaign now and are not recognising the democratic deficit that exists in this country is a major problem, a significant problem. A problem not just a theoretical one, but one that is leading to a polarization of Irish society. If you're telling half the people in this country, we don't really care if you're not involved in this particular election or you don't have a horse in this particular field, that's fine. Well, that's a bad message to send out, and it is a message that is leading to a lack of democratic instincts amongst a small minority. And that's dangerous for this country, and it's dangerous for this democracy as well. Some people say that the rights to vote should be afforded to Irish citizens living in the whole world. I have no problem with that. But that is a different question. Whether the right of a person to vote in Enniskillen or Newry or Derry, that is a different question than an Irish citizen voting in Shanghai, Johannesburg or San Francisco. These are Irish citizens living in Ireland and should have a right to vote as a result of that. This has to be the last presidential election that Irish citizens in the North are excluded. It has to be the end of a two-tiered citizenship in this country. We have to have a situation that there's not one section of Irish citizens more equal than others. This has to be the last presidential election where candidates are blocked by the political establishment. It has to be the end of a curated ballot that is controlled by a handful of establishment parties. We cannot let the political establishment engineer elections that exclude voters and then come back into the system and say, isn't it shocking that half the people haven't voted? No one should be entitled on the ballot. Absolutely, we fully agree with that, but the threshold needs to be reduced. And I welcome the fact that the government is not opposing this, but you now have a democratic onus to implement this. It can't be the fact that this chamber votes to support a motion and it is ignored by the government for the next 10 years. I often say the best way for the government to say no is to actually say yes. Every day we see TDs from the government going out to the gates and putting their arms around different campaigns, getting into the photographs with them, telling them yes, and then coming in here and either voting against their interests or just ignoring the issue altogether. And Minister James Brown mentioned a number of different steps, difficult steps that this might take. You know, I do feel sometimes the government's attitude is, Lord, make me good, but just not yet. Let's implement these reforms, and let's make it happen so we don't have another presidential election like this.
Thank you, Deputy.